Okay, where was I? Almost overshot that. I am so lucky that I didn't. And now I can finish this Cody knife. Hopefully it'll look right. Okay. But even if it does not look right, I'm still gonna sell it. It'll be available in the auction. Because I'm not really keeping very many points these days. I really don't do anything with them. Except look at them, right? And then after looking at it hundreds of times, you go, eh. Okay. Anyway. Stem first. Get that right. And then I'll work on the blade. It's kind of fat. The stem is wedge shaped. So I gotta thin the stem a little bit more. I'm pretty sure that this shoulder is not as pronounced as this shoulder, right? So I'm gonna take this back a little bit more here in a minute. But right now I gotta thin out that bulge in the stem. Okay. I'm going by memory here as to how these look. Okay. Probably should be doing heavy pressure on this, but I'm trying to limit my pressure flaking as much as possible. Yes, even on these. Even when I'm supposed to be using pressure, probably. Did I get it? Close enough. Alright, so I'm going to take back this edge a little bit more. And I am going to use pressure this time. Okay. And now I can talk about stupid stuff. Right? I can talk about stupid stuff. You're okay with it? Not like you can have a choice. It's not like you can say, nah. Don't have any choice. I used to write down notes of stuff I wanted to discuss during each video. But I stopped doing that when I got fed up with forgetting where I put my notes on some of the videos. I just get tired of looking around for stuff. I just want to get the camera set up, sit down and start napping. So I don't have a script for this one. I have not done much research on the Cody points recently, although I do have a book on it. A whole book, yes I do. And I've looked on various forums. I like the Cody complex points, but they're a little bit too regular for me to really like them. They go very well with modern techniques and modern mindsets. So if you are the kind of guy that likes methodical pressure flaking, sequential flaking, very regular, very smooth surface, go for the Cody complex. Eden points, Scott's Bluff on the final stages. Scott's Bluff in the beginning can be kind of random. Right? But as they get resharpened, they get more regular, as far as I can remember. And eat-in points, they're very regular. Same flake over and over and over. And with a diamond cross section, that's about as regular as you can get. Right? Right. Some guys have collections that are so extensive that they can tell you just by looking at a point that, oh yeah, that's Cody. So I've seen hundreds, you know, broken base or whatever, broken tip. Yeah, that's Cody. Because they do have distinctive types of flaking. Alright, so I'm regularizing the edge. This is not the distinctive type of flaking as far as I remember. I'm just regularizing the edge. I'm going to grind it and take a pass. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this other side. And hopefully it won't take me too long. I'm almost done with this. Now these edges, this edge can be what they call incurvate, right? Or excurvate, but usually incurvate or straight. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but if I pronounce it that way, I think you know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to make this slightly incurvate, which means it's going to be dished inward a little bit. I don't know about dished, but it's not going to be straight. It's going to curve in just a little bit. Although I probably should do it straight. Why? Because it takes less time. It takes a little bit less time. So let me see. As I'm breathing into the microphone, probably should be zooming in. Yeah. Close in pressure work. This is pretty straightforward stuff. It's just doing a little slight beveling, getting ready for that final pass. Straightening it out. Cody points have very straight edges. Why do I say Cody points? Because of the Cody complex. C-O-D-Y. In case you're new, just tuning in. What the heck? What the heck's going on? What? Whose points are these? You got somebody's points named Cody? No, it's the Cody complex. Oh. So what is that metal you're using? Is it aluminum or steel? It's steel. It is steel. Before you start asking like crazy in the comment section. Although you can use aluminum if you want. I switched only to steel because it requires a lot less maintenance, except for that one billet that I use. Aluminum billet. I like it. It works well, works good, works fantastic. All that good stuff. All right, so Pressure flaking, just very eyes glazing over pressure flaking. Yes, it is tedious, but if you want it to be regular, if you want it to be very much the same, that's not good. Can't have step fracturing. Okay, that's better. If you want it to be regular, you've got to sit there and pressure flake. I can do it with percussion, but once in a while it'll dig in and take a flake that's too big. And you can't replace the rock. You can take it away, but you can't put it back, just like woodworking. So you don't want to take away too much, and indirect percussion can take away a little too much if I were to do this with the indirect percussion flaker. So I'm using the pressure. Okay, so I got it to the point where I just need to grind it now. I'll do a little more pressure, and then I'll do the percussion flakes that look like big, bold pressure flakes. Okay? All right. Regularize the edge. Regularize it. Why would they do it this way? But instead of just do it randomly. Why isn't everything just random? Well, I think this particular method conserves on material. I think I've said it before. I think that's why they would do it this way. A lot less risk of breaking the whole thing in half. If you do it nice and regular, keep it kind of thick. Alright, so I'm going to make this concave or incurvate slightly. And I forget how the tips look, but I'm just going to wing it. Okay. Now, why don't I just leave it beveled? I don't know. I think the Cody points did have a bevel on it, on these knives. But I can't remember. That's the bummer. That's a bummer that I can't remember. So what I'm going to do is I'll do bold flakes, but I won't make them too bold. We'll see what happens. Might have to make another one of these on video. See, because that edge is pretty thick right now. You don't want to use that for cutting, I don't think. So that's why they would do the, what I think would be bold, heavy pressure or indirect percussion. Okay, it's time to do the indirect percussion. I'm grinding it in preparation for that. All right. Okay, so then I also have to prepare the flaking tool with a little bit sharper tip. This could take a little while. And yeah, there might be rock chips in there, but I already used the abrader on it a little bit earlier. The rock chips can, you know, dull the file easily. The rock chips embedded into the steel. In case you missed it first time I mentioned it. I know I can be repetitive, but sometimes we got guys coming in at the last minute, looking at the last 10 minutes or whatever. They missed the whole first part. Alright, I think that's alright. If not, I'll have to sharpen it some more. Okay, so indirect percussion. Now this is the hard part. It actually is the hard part, because I have to make these look like they were made very carefully. I'm not used to that. Now, were the bases ground on these? I think they were. Stems ground. Yeah, I'll dress up that stem a little bit. I might not have to. If my memory kicks in and I remember if I'm supposed to thin down or grind the stem, I mean. If I'm supposed to, hopefully I'll remember. Alright, so little by little, let's put in a row of flakes. Oh, dang. What do they do? Oh, I messed it up a little bit, but let's continue. Okay. Pretty sure I can do one side then the other by hitting in between, and I'll hit a dull spot. If I'm in between the two other strikes, there's a dull spot on the edge that I can use to hit. But not like that. Let's just do one side first. Yeah. Not good. Not good at all. Well, try to do a little bit stronger and it takes off a flake a little bit too wide. Back off a little bit. Yeah. It's very subtle. Backing off a little bit is very subtle. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm gonna, that's that side. Now let's see. I'm gonna do one side, the same side on the edge now, the blade edge. Instead of the blade back, I'm gonna do the blade edge. All right, starting a little lower because I can do the final work with pressure on the tip. If I do the tip with indirect percussion, I risk blowing off the tip. Yeah, gotta be careful. I'm careful that nothing gets released, and then I have to hit a little bit harder, and then a little bit harder makes all the difference. It becomes a wide, deep flake. I want more narrowness to the flakes. Now I'm probably gonna have to space these apart and then do one in the middle, because doing the individual side-by-side sequential doesn't seem to be working that great. All right, now one in the middle. Yeah, this doesn't work that great either. It helps if it's if the edge that was prepared is very, very regular. Right? Right. Okay, so now the other side. But I got to prepare it with some pressure retouch. Retouch just means a little more work with pressure. Secondary work with some pressure flaking. Not too many. Not too many pressure flakes. And as you do dozens and dozens of these types of points, the flaking gets more regular. You get used to it. You get 600 pounds of material. Plenty of big pieces. Spend all your Christmas money. What happened to the Christmas money, Dad? I don't know. And then you can do this type of flaking. Just so guys, those cool guys on the internet won't complain about you not knowing what you're doing. Yeah. Let's see, who said it? Marcus Aurelius. Don't worry about impressing people that don't impress you. Yeah, I think that's what he said. Maybe not in those words, but don't try to impress people that don't impress you. Okay. Other side. So that's what it looks like now. Hopefully, I'm going to put a nice little pattern on there. At least nicer than what I got now. Did I do this? Yeah, I did that edge, but it looks kind of wonky. Let me see. Fix it up a little bit. And regrind it. It's got to be perfect. Now it doesn't, this is not exactly how it was done, because if you get good at this, you don't have to think about this stuff. It just comes naturally. You just repair the edge in that certain way with regular flaking, and then your final pass to thin it down and get it sharp. Instinctively, after lots of practice, you get into the habit, so it does become intuitive for this style of point, where it just looks and feels right, but you need to practice it. Alright, so I'm probably grinding a little too much, but oh well. You don't need to grind as much as if you're using antler. But since I'm using steel, and steel is a little bit harsher than antler, I gotta grind it more. Why does it matter? Because it ends up being more dull. More dull than it needs to be. With antler, it can remain pretty sharp all the way through the process, and it ends up being a sharper tool overall. Really? Then why don't you just use antler the whole way? Dang it. Because it's a pain. It reduces the enjoyment of the whole process, I think. It might give you insights into maybe possibly how this was made in the past. But as far as the hobby goes, to each his own. Some people don't like to use natural tools like me. I mean, I do like them, but I've got to be in that mood to where I'll put up with it. Everything's got to be right with the world, right? Nice day out, plenty of rest, maybe some meditation and fasting, maybe some soothing music in the background, whatever. Yeah, then I'll do some elbow work. Or someone really, really wants to see it, and I go, okay. Begrudgingly. I'll do it. I'll do it begrudgingly. Why you gotta be so negative, man? Why you gotta be so negative? It's a gift, I tell you. Yeah, special gift, special talent. Being negative. Am I getting it? I don't know, close enough, I think. I'll just do a little pressure flaking. I think this series, the two-part series is the usual thing. All right. Try to do it in 30 minutes. I tried. Seriously, I did. I had it all planned out. That was going to take exactly 30 minutes. Exactly. No. But that would have been nice. Okay. What am I doing here? Finishing up. Although I didn't do a very good job on that. Anyway. There's some dull spots, right? Because of the grinding. The abrading. I took a look at some Cody point edges. They are minutely flaked. Minute flakes. I should have probably sharpened this pressure flaker, but I'm not going to. Oops, not supposed to do really big sharpening flakes. They took off really minute flakes for sharpening. The final sharpening, at least the ones that I saw. I have some casts, and I have a couple Cody point casts. Just minute, barely touching the edge to get that sharp. Alright, and now I'm going to finish up the stem. And call it good. Alright. And I'm not going to talk about anything right now because I don't want to mess this up. I don't know how sharp these corners were in here. Someone can help me out. Someone help us out in the comment section. Tell me what's wrong with it. And all that good stuff. I'm out of my range here. I do mostly Texas stuff, although now I'm doing some research on New England stuff. It's funny how you move into a new area and all you want to do is a local artifacts reproductions. It's funny how that works. Anyway, I'll be doing some New England points coming up here. I got another request. I need to write it down to do a Susquehanna point out of rhyolite of all things. I gotta write that down because if I don't, I'll get distracted. Someone will say, "Hey man, do a pine tree." Why? Because they're cool. Well, pine tree is just a resharpened corner notch. What's the big deal? No. They got these wild serrations, man. Perfect serrations and beautiful profile. No, that's the modern stuff. If you look at the actual pine trees, they're resharpened corner notched with serrations, yes. But I had to do a little more research on those to see if the serrations are put onto a bevel or they're serrated using bifacial flaking, where they're flaking both sides on the serrations, or just primarily one side. I gotta look that up. Do some more research and let you guys know. Maybe you guys can tell me in the comments on this one too. Alright, here we go. Okay, try to do some long pressure flakes. Alright. Yeah, it's not too bad. Should I try for another one? No. Just dress it up. It's 30 minutes. No sense in ruining it now with a step fracture on the stem. I guess you guys can just imagine that it's well ground, or whatever the type of grinding was necessary for the Cody complex point Cody knife. Okay, that's all I'm going to do. That's the best I can do. I'm not going to do any more on this. The shoulders are uneven, which is probably messed up, right? I'm going to take a thumbnail. It's got to look good for the thumbnail. Let me even that up really quick here. Better? I think so. All right. Okay, there you go.